I know it is. The thing. Sometimes Zoom is a bit glitchy, isn't it?
It can be. Yeah. Yep.
They just sent me a message this morning to say that they're shutting down my recordings because I've gone nearly 7,000% above what was billed.
Yeah.
My records, I've like 700 videos recorded.
Yeah. If you have to go into the settings, and then it'll be under recordings, and then you have to either download them or delete them. I just did that last week. But yeah, Zoom, the back end doesn't work real well. Like, it's indiscriminate, like where it saves stuff to. I'd rather just save the stuff to my desktop. But you can't save straight to a G drive, unfortunately. You have to save it to your computer and then upload it to the G drive.
Yeah, that sounds like a VA job to me.
You're like, I don't know. Techno. You're younger than me by a significant amount and worse at tech significantly. Well, how did that happen?
Oh, I told you when I was in Miami, I only focus on less than 3 things in my life: my family, my wealth, my health. That's it. Everything else I couldn't care less about.
Yeah, that's good. That, you know what that is? That's CEO mindset is what that is. Seriously. Yeah, you just focus on a few decisions, and then the rest of the stuff someone else can figure out. Yeah. The who, not the how. There's a book about that, by the way. Good book about that.
All right, cool. We are live, I hope. Yeah, we are live. Let me know that you can hear me. Zoom is a bit glitchy at the moment, which is a pain in the ass. Yeah, I see there's 12 people watching live on Facebook. Let me know that you can hear me, guys. Let me know that all the sound is working, and we'll get going in a second. I am with my very, very good friend, Christian Peter, all the way over Miami Beach. How are you, buddy?
Everything's good, man. You?
I am A-okay. We just got a lovely famous award today, so that's always good, which I'll share later on. What I want to do today is I want to just kind of give a brief overview of the journey that you've been on over the last couple of weeks. Not the last couple of weeks, the last couple of months. But also I want to just kind of figure out what it takes, you know, from someone who has gone on a mad tear, as we call it here in the UK and Ireland, what it takes to kind of come back day after day, week after week, month after month. So if you can hear me, guys, let me know, and we're going to get rocking and rolling. Can hear. Fantastic, good stuff. Always, guys, if you have any questions for me or Christian or anything like that, let me know. And if we have some time and I can steal some of Christian's time, then I'll definitely answer. What I want you to do, if you can, Christian, just give everyone an overview of who you are, and what you actually do in the market.
Sure. Yeah, so I'm the owner of Dark Horse Commercial, which is not only a commercial real estate brokerage firm, but also we offer training to aspiring commercial agents or commercial agents that want to learn how to list and sell commercial properties. Sure. So I started off as a broker and then created a coaching curriculum around what I do and teach it to others.
How hard is that said?
No. Number one, you're dealing with people who have already studied sales, which you know well about, you know. But the other part is a lot of people are not used to investing in themselves.
Yeah.
So there's a huge mindset. That's number two. And number three is a lot of mediocre brokers live deal to deal. So they never have a little bit of money stashed away. So it's always the next deal, the next deal, the next deal.
Yeah. It's always I always call it the Peter Pan story. Tomorrow. It's always tomorrow with those guys because, as you say, they live deal to deal, and the deals, as you know, are brokerage, especially I'm a property. So the deal gets done today. There's actually no money exchange for 30, 40, 50 days. It's actually far worse here in the UK, but you guys are around 30, 45 days, I think. Is that what it is between completion?
Interestingly enough, so residential deals are like that. Commercial deals, I've had deals under contract 6, 7, 8, 9 months. Sure. You know, so from the time you put it under contract, you're just getting started. So yeah, so it's even worse on the commercial side.
You actually corrected me a second ago, and I said to you, when you started, you were at 7K. What were you at actually?
The worst month I had in 2022 was $2,800.
Shit. Now in Miami Beach, that will get you what?
That'll get your parking for the month. or so it seems. Yeah.
Sure. Where have you gone to? Like, what has been that journey from, as you say, less than 3K? Where did you go to? I know the highest was 64.
Yeah.
Perfect. And we're going to talk about that journey and what kind of changed to get you on that path.
Sure.
But where is the kind of company at the moment?
Yeah. So a decent month for us is about 50K, in revenue. When I'm barely cracking 30, I'm like upset and like I would have killed for that a year ago. So it's all relative, but and especially because I'm stepping away from a $500,000 plus, career.
Yeah.
So I can help others learn how to do it. So I took a major pay cut to help others. And now I'm making $2,800. I could be making 10, 20 times that per month. So that was the real kick in the pants, was like, I got to get this thing going.
Why did you do that? Like, that's very, very interesting to me as a CEO and someone who chases a lot of things around. Like, why did you do that? Because in normal capacities and normal life, you ultimately are the success story. Like, you're going from, I know when we spoke, we've been friends for years now, but like when you started, you were a plumber. Like, you were in the trade, and then going from being in trade all the way up to 500K plus a month or a year, sorry. Why did you take that massive hit? Like, what was that driver for you?
Yeah. So a couple interesting things happened. Number one, I got sick with COVID when COVID happened, and I had just bought some rental properties, and knowing that those rental properties would be able to take care of, my living expenses and everything, it allowed me to take a look around for the first time, because I was quarantined for 30 days, and say, what do I want to do? Now that I can live comfortably, the business has been very good to me. Now that I can live comfortably, what do I want to do instead of what do I have to do to earn money? So that's when I was like, if I could really, really do something, it would be something that gives back more, because in a commercial deal, I help myself and I help my client. Done. 2 people get served. Versus my whole concept was, what if I could just make the same amount of money helping others? So instead of helping myself and my client, it's helping myself and dozens of other people. And that's really where my kind of aim is, Yeah. So that just give back to an industry that's been very good to me.
Yeah, has been good. Let me ask you, in terms of like where you started and that kind of meteoric rise up to like 64, 65K, how long did that take, or why did it move so quick? Is a better question, I should say.
Yeah, a few things. So I had studied a bunch of different sales, and unfortunately, sometimes the more information you get, the more analysis paralysis you get. And when you and I started working together, we were working on process, we're working on systems, we're working on sales, and we're working on objectives, right? Objections. So what really helped, the things that helped me was to get clarity and kind of peel away the stuff that I didn't need. And then the other thing was, I remember saying to you, I'm like, dude, all these people teach sales. They need to teach objections, because that's what's missing, because that's the thing that catches everything, And so when we really started focusing in on that stuff, that's when it's like all the mistakes I might've made along the presentation, I was able to fix and catch. So when I started getting my objections dialed in, when I got my show up rates dialed in, and when I got my financing dialed in, those are the 3 things that contributed the most.
Those were the kind of 3 things that, as you say, put you in the fucking eye of the storm, because as we kind of diagnosed when we were looking at it the first kind of couple of weeks, was you can have like rapport and you can have relationships and you can have equity in the market, and people can look at you as an expert, which you are. But if you still can't close deals and you still can't overcome objections, then what happens?
Yeah, nothing. It's $2,800 a month. That's what you get.
So when you can save deals, you can build out from there. And that's something that I've always done. I've always told all my guys, this is what we're doing first. We're starting to get objections, then we're going to go to inaction, then we're going to go to the future, then we're going to go North Star. Because if you can save the deal, then you can build out from the deal. That's what I always tell people. If you can handle objections, then more often than not, you can help a person move forward into something that's going to benefit their life. When you double that down with show up rates and you're getting more opportunity, and you double that up and triple that up with finance options for all of these people, that's how you can go from less than 5K all the way up to 64K. And I think it was about 10, 12 weeks. Something stupid like that. Yeah. Awesome. Why did you have challenges? I know you said that you done other sales training and things like that, which is perfectly understandable and fine. Most people do.
Mhm.
What challenges did you have other than objections?
Well, I think so much is taught on like people get dogmatic, right? Like I followed a bunch of other different systems. Sandler was the one that I used a lot, and other ones too. And people get dogmatic in like they say this, you say that, they say this, you say that, not realizing why are we having this conversation? Where are we trying to get to? What is the outcome? And it took me a while being in the weeds. And finally, when I got my head above the weeds, I'm like, oh. So like we talk about North Star. Now I know where I'm trying to get to. So for me, not being able to understand where I was trying to get to, I was just reading words on a paper and asking a bunch of questions that pissed people off and annoyed them. And they're like I said before, that's the dreaded, So once I understood, I guess I should say, all the other sales systems that I had worked with, they didn't give you the why behind the what. They just gave you the what and the how. And without knowing the why, you're kind of just like asking questions for the sake of asking questions.
Yeah. I thought it was quite funny there. Like 2 weeks ago, I got notified that my family program got pirated. I laughed and I was joking. Did not tell you that, no. It got pirated. It got pirated.
That's a compliment, I guess.
I took it as a great compliment. I was like, well, if you're going to go out of your way to break the law and you're going to go out of your way to actually commit a crime for my education, then fantastic. It means we're on the right path and we're doing the right things.
Sure.
So, and it's funny because someone said to me, are you not upset? And I said, no, why would I be upset? Number one, it's a compliment. And number two, all they get is words. And it's exactly what you just said. All they'll get is words.
Yep.
When words are words, and words are cheap. There's nothing cheaper in this world, as you and I know, than words. Yeah. How often have we all told ourselves that we're going to go to the gym on Monday? Monday comes around, and what happens? You lie over in bed and you roll over. You grab some ass and then you go back to sleep. Yeah, that's what happens more often than not, if you're lucky. Yeah. It's not the words, it's the actions that are associated with the words, which is going to confirm whether you're going to fucking do it and you're going to secure it. Yes or no. That's just how it works. Yep. So I wasn't really worried about that. And it's great because, as you say, you can have words, but words are not enough.
No. And if you think about it, in the digital age we live in, information is everywhere. YouTube videos are everywhere. Yeah. World Wide Web, it's got everything. But implementation is what you pay for, not the information. You can give someone all the information in the world. They'll never do it. You pay for the implementation.
That's something I'm really, really proud of as well, because I always said, like, my team are like, let's scale. It's the buzzword in my industry, or it's the buzzword in my industry, but it's also the buzzword in my company. It's something that I have to like pull the guys back day in, day out about, and they're like, let's scale. And I'm like, no, we're not scaling at the detriment of the fulfillment. We're not scaling at the detriment of the hand-on-hand coaching. We're not scaling at the detriment of me providing the value needed to get the person where they need to go. Yeah. I see that time and time again. Do you see that in your industry, or what do you think?
Yeah, it's funny. We just had a annual kickoff, with my team at the meeting yesterday, and the very first thing I put on the slideshow was students first. Yeah. You lead with a student first mentality. Students bring referrals, bring testimonials, bring success stories, bring you put their needs ahead of yours, and everything will be fine. Zig Ziglar, that old dude from like the 60s and 70s, he's like, you help enough people get what they want, you can get everything you want. Yeah. That's all. Lead with others, and you'll be fine. Yeah. So you're right. You got the right idea, Bill. And I'm of the same exact mentality.
Let me ask you this, because I am a very polarized person. I'm a very polarized character. I'm like Marmite. You know what Marmite is? No. Marmite is stuff that you put on toast here. Right? Oh, it's like this black shit tar that you put on toast, and then you have a catchphrase, and it goes everywhere. It's their marketing. You either love it or you hate it. And either you'll fall in love with it or you'll hate it until it fucking falls over. Why? But that's a perception, and I'm going to be honest about that. That's a perception, because when you actually know me and you actually understand who I am as a person, then everything changes, because people actually understand how much I bleed for people. Yeah. What did you see in the objection box that made you want to join us, but also made you want to join my program? Yeah.
What I saw, because we had worked together before Objection Box, and I saw a guy that wants what's best for his students, but most importantly, he'll tell them the things that maybe other trainers won't, right? there's an old saying, tell them where the bear shit in the buckwheat. So it's like, you're going to tell people exactly how it is, exactly how it isn't, and mince no words. And it might sting a little bit at that time, but it's for their best interest long-term, if that makes sense.
Everything stings. Like when you're not where you want to be and you're not living the life that you want to have, everything should sting.
100%.
And if it doesn't sting, then it's not important enough for you.
Well, yeah. Yep. Well, it's funny. You remind me of a Jordan Peterson quote. He talks about like everything is going to be hard. Everything is going to be difficult. You just choose your difficult, whether it's going to be difficult of being poor or the difficult of doing the things necessary to be successful, you know?
Why was it so successful? Like what do you feel in terms of the objection handling and that process made it so as quickly as it had? Because that's like you go from less than 5K all the way up to 64K in around 10, 12 weeks. Like that is a lot of consistency. That is a lot of fulfillment. That is a lot of process driven. Like, what do you think has turned the screw?
I finally saw the matrix, right? You broke it down. You peeled away. Neo. Yeah. But you kind of peeled away the fat that a lot of other people, just a lot of fluff that's in there. And then more importantly, the framework. I can understand, oh, okay, if they say this, it's going to be either this objection or that objection. This is going to be, so like for me, I need to have a mental map. And once I saw the mental map, I'm like, oh, this is where it's going. Okay. And so instead of being just like, I don't know, it's one of these 6 objections, it's like, no. It's going to be this or this. And if they go here, it's going to be this or this. And if they go there. So it really helped me figure out what those steps were and organize it in my brain. And then I'm like, oh, now I can see it. It's kind of like I'm a musician. Like you can listen to music and not understand it. But then if you see the sheet music, you're like, oh, that's how it's going. And then for every other song, you can understand. So once I saw your framework and the way you kind of organize the material, I was like, okay. And then that allowed me to be effective and know, oh, I should be doing this, not this, not this.
When you go into coaching and programs and all the different stuff that people do, and you actually go in there and go through stuff and you have more questions, that means to me then it's not clear. That means to me that there's a gap in the fulfillment. It means there's a gap in the presentation. There's a gap in obviously getting a person where they need to go. My whole philosophy was I didn't want to give more roadblocks. You're coming with roadblocks. Yeah. What I want to do is unpack the roadblocks and give you a clear path. Yeah. And that's the most important part. When we went to Miami, what did you think of Miami? That was cool, wasn't it?
That was a lot of fun. That was a good time. Yeah.
Yeah. We had the video back. When did we get the video back? Like 2 weeks ago, which was really, really cool. I think this year we'll probably do something in London, I think. Or maybe at the end of next year, I might go back to America. I am going to New York at the end of February.
Oh, cool.
If you're kicking about, come up and see your in-laws.
Yeah.
What I was about to say was in terms of like the business and for you, where's it going? What's the plan? Where's the goals?
Yeah. So as where I am, I've kind of hit that ceiling of doing all the fulfillment, doing all the triages, doing all the closing, so forth. So I'm now at this point bringing on a closer, right? So that I can free myself up from certain things, and I can because there's a certain point where you can't get past as a kind of owner, operator / salesperson. So that's where we're at. So we brought on kick-ass sales staff. So we're really looking forward to getting off the phone so that I can start creating more content and so forth, and really double down the fulfillment.
What was the key to getting it there?
Key to getting it there was getting my systems dialed in, which you helped me do, the process dialed in, and then understanding how the call needs to go so that I can then say, okay, this process is working. Processes are not scalable unless they're working and they're tried and true. Now we know they're proven out, over the last 6 months. Now it's like, okay, now I can take this thing that I know is tried and true and pass this off to somebody else, because then it's replicatable, and you need replicatability to scale.
which is a fancy word. I'm going to wrap it all up of what Christian says, because he's a broker and he uses fancy words and he uses his hands and he's very explanatory about things. Basically, what he just says is the only way you scale a business and the only way you bring in people is you make fucking more money. That is it. Because without more money, Christian ultimately is the operator, the marketer, the fulfillment, the coaching, the selling, the marketer, the everything. Because that's the key. Without revenue in a company, without revenue in your life, you can't go and do the shit that you want to do. And that's the key to that. Where would you be if you didn't? Like, where would your company be if you were kind of still floating around 5, 6, 7K? I don't know if you want to think about that, but
I don't even want
I hate to do that because it's look, as I always tell people, it's not necessarily where you came from or what you were doing, it's about where you want to go. Yeah. And that's the key to it. But also, like, when you generate more income and you have more revenue for a company, what you can do is you can build a great team around you. You can give great people great opportunities, like I do and you do, and I know lots of great companies that do that too, and that's the key. Any questions you want to ask me? What do you want to ask me? I always ask people questions. What do you want to ask me? What do you want to ask me that most people don't ask?
Okay. If you were getting started from the very beginning, what's the one thing that you would tell yourself from 2 years ago? Work on this only, and that's going to be the smallest effort to move the needle the most.
Good question. I think I went through it this week, the other day. I think a lot of people want the results because they just see other people having results and they think that they're automatically entitled to it.
Sure.
You and I both know we've been in shit situations where I was in military making less than $1,500 a month. Mm-hmm. You've been digging up fucking pipes and shit in the middle of the back end of New York, mm-hmm. breathing your ass off at -20. So we know what hard work is. Yeah. There's a difference between hard work and smart work.
Bingo.
Hard work for me is labor, it's graft, it's fucking painting walls, it's pulling down fucking roofs and shit. That's hard work. That's like shit that I don't ever want to do in my entire life again. Smart work for me is what needs to change so I can get what I want. So if I was starting all over again, I don't know what I'd do a whole lot different, to be quite honest with you.
Really?
No, at the time when I started, I was with a great company. I'll never not say that. I was with great people. At that time in my life, I was with great people that gave me a great platform, and they allowed me to be me. What it did do is I had to produce quick, fast, powerful, which I ultimately came to the fruition that I was able to do. So if I was starting all over again, what I would do, and I see this time and time again with people think that they're going to trick their way into a great opportunity. You're not, because it just doesn't work. Because every company in this land value their company like they would an all-star NBA team. Every person that has a company thinks that their company doesn't stink.
Right.
Think they're the best thing since sliced bread. Now, when you feel that your company is the best thing since sliced bread, you're not going to take on a rookie.
Right.
You're not going to take on somebody who needs 24 months, 18 months to develop.
Right.
Because your company, with this great word scale, wants to do what? We want to punch through barriers.
Right.
When you have time, effort, and commitment, and you're putting more time, effort, and commitment into coaching internally, it's stopping you from what? Scaling.
Right, move forward, yeah.
So I would tell people, if I was to start all over again, I would be soaking up as much information, knowledge, and experience as I possibly could. I would swallow shit for 12 months. Mm-hmm. I would go and I would get on lots of calls, and I would get lots of experience, and I would hone in my craft. Because without experience, without access, without conversations, without calls, without interactions with people, you're not going to be able to have the IQ to be able to handle people. I was very fortunate. From the age of 0, I've been in situations where we have a pub. So I have all different characters, all different types of people, all different relationships being built since a very young age. Then I went to military where I had a lot of egotistical people and I had to make things work. Then I went from military to personal training, which was a very one-to-one aspect of things, which allows me to build accountability and know what pushes people. Because I had people that were 4 stone overweight and I had people that were running $50 million companies. So I had a wide range of people. So I had different types of people. Then I walked into sales and it was just everything on speed.
Right.
You know, so I had a lot of interactions in my life. I had a lot of conversations, I had a lot of people around me, I had a lot of things that ultimately allowed me to do what we done. You know, I see a lot of young people today living on the internet, living in games and shit and playboys and all this kind of garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want to be good in sales, then guess what? It's not chat GPT or that IQ thing that's coming out that's going to help you. It's interactions that are going to help you.
Sure.
And the faster you can get a lot of interactions in your life, the faster you're going to be able to help yourself. You know?
Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of like you kind of have to socialize yourself almost and immerse yourself in the business for a 12-month period to get you.
Like if I want to train dolphins, like if that's a goal of mine, if I want to train dolphins, well, the majority of my time I'm going to have to be in the fucking pool.
Yeah.
Like the majority of my time I'm going to have to be feeding dolphins, rubbing their bellies and fucking studying how they behave and studying what they do and how they do it.
Yeah.
Like people just have this expectation of, I see it all the time in the market, 10 weeks to 10K, starting from zero. You're like, no. Like that might have worked 4 years ago, 5 years ago when that marketing was banging.
Right.
But people can just read through it now and no one is going to give you a 10K opportunity if you're walking in off the street. Someone one time said to me, if you can imagine, like every business owner values their company like a Lamborghini. Now you come to the company and you come to the fucking car dealership and you start waving around this little cert that says you've just gone through a 10-week fucking training course. You know, and you've just qualified as a full-time driver. The person that owns the car dealership is not going to give you the keys to a Lamborghini. No matter how much money you have in your pocket, because he's like, you might have all this money in your pocket, but I don't know you're going to buy it. And if you crash it, then what the fuck happens now? So I think for me and what I see in the market, I think a lot of people should suck. A lot of people should swallow that they're not really good. And just know that if I'm not really good today and I'm at 98% not really good, tomorrow I can get to 94% not really good. And the next week after that, I can get to 86% not really good. And after that, I can get to, it's like a handicap in golf. What a great hook that is. What a great analogy that is. When you start off, you start above like 30. But you don't look at the 30, you just look at your swing, you just look at what you're doing and you just perfect it until you start to come down. And then you play games and you play tournaments and you play this and you play that, which ultimately can pull down your score. Before you know it, you're not plus, you end up minuses. And then you get to zero, which means you're okay. And then you start going to minus. You know what I mean? So there's lots of great things that people can take inspiration from. But I think a lot of people look at sales as a get rich quick scheme. And it's not. Like, how long have you been in business?
Yeah, I graduated college in 1998.
Yeah, I was 6 years of age.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
the best advice I could ever give anybody, getting rich quick is the fastest route to ruin. Look at any lottery winner, look at any teenage pop star or celebrity, right? The best thing you can do is like you said, just chip away, work at your skills, get rich slowly, put that in your mind. This is a 10-year process, 15-year process, 20-year process, because then you'll have the skills and the capacity to be able to handle it when you get to that point.
Most people don't want that, or do they? Most people don't actually want to swallow that it is going to, like, people look at what I've done over the last 18 months, 2 years. I started in sales January 1st, 2021. And I've done more than most people will ever do in their life. And I just got an award literally this morning that showed that I made $1 million in 5 months. Okay, there's nothing in this world I can take that away from you. That's just there, it's set in stone. What I mean by that is I've been on this grind since I was 21. I'm 30 now.
Yeah, I was going to say 18. You know, it took you 12 years to earn $1 million in 5 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've been on this kind of entrepreneur spirit since I was 21, since I left the army. I looked at my life and I was like, I don't want a 9 to 5, and I don't want someone to tell me when I can blow my nose. That's what military was for me. I don't want some fella to come along and look at my shirt and go, that's creasing. Drop down and give me 50. I didn't want that in my life anymore. You know, I wanted more. So I went and got more. But it's not like it just happened. You know, I put 7 years into building a fitness business that gave me the fucking resilience and the fucking, I suppose, edge and that kind of fuck you attitude and that kind of bulletproof mindset to say, well, so fucking what? Like, you're just saying no. I always tell people, like, this is what happens in sales. So they're going to say yes, they're going to say no, they're going to hang up, or they're going to tell you to fuck off. Like, what out of those 4 things in my life that I've done means that I can't actually get up and do it again? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I look at things in life and I say to myself, well, life experience should be giving you one thing. It should be giving you energy to push forward with things. Problem is that I see time and time again is most people want the results, but they don't want to do they don't want to do what it takes to get the results.
Yeah.
You know?
They want the lemonade. They don't want the squeeze, you know?
Yeah. I don't want to go on a philosophical David Goggins. David Goggins, like, you look at David Goggins, and I just got a second book that it's actually just there, and I'm going to start opening it up. Like, he started off, he was like 400 pounds.
Oh, yeah. Big boy.
You don't go from 400 pounds to a Navy SEAL. He failed, like, I think it's like 3 times going through his Navy SEALs training. But the first goal that he had to do was go from 400 pounds down to fucking a fighting 200. Like, that was his first battle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, people just look at success and they say to themselves, that's what I want. You know? And I challenged the guys inside the other day. I said, give yourself 12 months, put the effort, time, and commitment in what I did every single day, 12-hour days, 6 days a week, 5.5 days a week, I like. You do that for 12 months and see where your life gets to. I fucking guarantee you it will be far better than what it is right here, right now.
Yeah.
You know, and most people don't want to do that. Why do you think that? Why do you think most people don't want that?
This right here. This right here. Yeah. This is the path to instant gratification. Everyone even wants everything yesterday. They want to push a button and have success. Meanwhile, it's like you mentioned the other day in training, the iceberg. 10% is what you see. The 10% that of success that you have, the success that anyone has, that's what people see. They don't see the 90% of the blood, sweat, and tears that went into it. So it's unfortunately, we live in a digital world. Instagram's the worst thing in the world because you get to see all these people, these amazing lifestyles, and you have no idea, number one, if it's real, and number two, what they did to get there. You know, like you know, 9 years to become an overnight success. You know, it just doesn't fall in your lap.
And the funny thing is, we're not even successful.
I know.
It's based on what? Like, it's based on someone's perception. It's not my perception. Where I'm going or what I'm doing, and I can say that with confidence, conviction, because there's only one thing that will ever stop me, and that's myself. Where we're going or what we're doing, it's a snippet. It's a drop in the ocean.
For sure.
It's a drop in the ocean. But again, it's just perception of what people value or what people have an opinion on what success actually is. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's what it is. What a weird little world we live in, buddy. But what can we do? All we can do, you and I, is focus on ourselves. Focus on obviously building and growing and helping a lot of people. Any more questions? Give us one more, and then we'll wrap up.
One more goodie. Okay. Moving forward, right, to someone who's brand new in the business, what's the one thing that you would tell them?
What business now?
In the sales business, in the sales, someone, a salesperson, what's the one thing that like you would tell? What would you tell yourself? What's the advice that you would give yourself day one?
Day one, know that you're going to suck. Like, knowing that you don't have an entitlement to be very good. And I see a lot of people compare and contrast. When I was working with a company and there was like 130, 140 people, in my head, I'm going to war with all of them.
Okay.
But I wasn't actually going to war with them. I was actually going to war with myself. You know, so I never really wanted to compare and contrast. I just wanted to be better for myself.
Yeah.
You know, so if you look at someone like Tom Brady, you know, why is he still going? Why is he still doing the shit that he's doing? because it's an internal drive that ultimately dictates whether he's going to be successful or not.
Yeah.
And people just see him beating everyone else's success. But in his head, he bet himself. He's beating himself every day. He's beating the voice. He's beating the fear. He's beating the insecurities every single day of. Yeah. He's challenging himself. He's challenging himself when he went and got on that pick, when he was like the last quarterback or something. Like that still is there. Oh, yeah. I know that for a fact. If any of you sat down with Tom Brady and you actually asked him what drives you, he says that image of him running like a fucking tortoise and got bandaged around the internet as a joke. But now he's like, what, 7 Super Bowls or something? I don't know, something stupid. I don't really follow it to a T, but like that's the image that he probably has at the back of his head, knowing that you laugh now, but watch what I do now. You'll never laugh again. And
he fell in love with the process, and that's what makes him successful.
Yeah.
Not the outcome.
The outcome is that people see that he wins Super Bowl, but that's not it. Like the process is the winning for him of knowing every day. It's the little bits, the pieces of rice that I always tell people that he's putting on the weighing scale or the weighing scales every single season that tips the balance at the end. That's what it's for. That's the goal. You know? So I think that's a big important part. I would also, as I always say, I'll only ever speak on my situation, but because I can't speak on anyone else and I can't tell people to do something that I've never done.
Fair.
I studied and I developed and I trained and I pushed my fucking limits on that, and it just helped me develop to whatever we are today. You know, so that's what I would say. You got to compare and contrast with yourself, and you got to fucking work your bollocks off, because nothing is going to happen overnight, and you won't get the opportunities anyway, because without your results, your reputation and your relationships, you're a big fish in out of water in your head. You know, you don't survive out of water, you survive in the swim, as they say. Christian, appreciate you, buddy. I know you're busy. I know you're busy. I know you got money to make, so we all do. I always tell people, I said this the other day, and it's really, really important for a lot of people. If you're still watching this, guys, start every day at 000. You start every day at 000, and then you're hungry. Because if I have nothing, which every day I wake up, I feel I have, then what do I have to do? And it's that caveman mentality. Like if I have 5 kids and I have no food in the cave, well, guess what I got to do? I got to go and hunt. I got to go and find. I got to go and make. I got to go and produce. You know, and that's something I've always lived by. You know, every day, wake up 000. I might actually get that posted somewhere. It's all in the back of my head. But 000 every single day, guys, you wake up and you got to go and you got to get hungry again. You know, that's the key. All right, guys, I'm out. Christian is out. If you have any questions, please do let me know. Biggest thing for me, guys, in 2023, if you want to fucking 10x, you want to do what Christian does, you want to do like everyone else that I work with that fucking turn up and do the work. If you want to do that, you want to simplify your sales, you want to overcome objections, you want to do it in a position which is fucking effortless. Let's be honest. Once you understand the concepts and you understand where you're going, please do reach out. I'm going to be live. I'm going to be on my DMs for the next couple of hours. Reach out. Let's have a conversation. Let's see where we're going. And let's see, can I put you in a position where you can go from 4 or 5K all the way up to 64, just like my good buddy, Christian. All right, Christian, love you, buddy. See ya.
Thank you, pal.
Take care of yourself.
I'm in. You too.